This is Proverbs chapter 30, verse 8. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. Lest I be full and deny thee, and say, who is the Lord? And lest I be poor and steal, and take the Lord my God in vain. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone at Ruwell. Peace and blessings and salutation to you elect, to you brothers kicking this word in sincerity and in truth, to you prophets. All right, I'm the brother Sha'ar from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, coming at you all with another lesson through the Spirit, Lord willing, it's edifying. And as you see the precept that was just read here, Proverbs 30 and 8, you know, and that verse stands out much. All right, because naturally when you go into that verse, that goes into how one swearing this truth. You know, don't expect to just receive a bunch of worldly gain, you know, but expect for the Lord to bless you and keep you sustained with whatever that you have. But also too, when you read this scripture here, you can liken that to the portion that the Lord gives us. All right, according to the Spirit. You know, a few things just I've been meditating on, and was talking to a few of the fellow Akim about. I was talking to the priest, to the brother Ban Sapat earlier today, and before camp, I was having a very beautiful conversation with the brother. You know, and something that I can only attest for myself, something that I pray for, that I include in my prayers, is that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai gives me the portion that's sufficient enough for me. You know, there's a lot of times where we ask for the Lord to double our portion. You know, times you might ask the Lord to give you more, or whatever the case is, which it's not nothing wrong with asking the Lord to double your portion. You know, even Elisha asked to receive double portion of Elijah's spiritual power. You know, but just to understand that if we do ask for a double portion of the Lord, better be make sure that you can be able to eat all that's given unto you. You know, there's a phrase or something that people would say. Let's say if you're at a buffet or you're at a restaurant and you're looking at a menu and that dish looks really good, you know, and then you order the dish and you think you can eat it all because you're starving, you're hungry. And then when that plate gets in front of you, you know, you look at your plate and you can't even get halfway through the meal. And they say pretty much how they word it, your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach right there. You know? So I'm just using that as an example. Be prepared for what the Lord gives you. If you ask for a double portion of the Lord to give you an abundant portion, be prepared and pray that you're able to eat all of it. You know? Something that I've been meditating on, you know, and praying to the Lord about, just myself personally, you know, and I'm not just going just proclaiming my prayers, but it's just I wanted to go into a lesson on this because this is something I was meditating on. When you ask for the Lord to give you your portion, you know, you're not asking the Lord for a little bit. You know, when you ask him to feed you with a portion that's sufficient enough for you, who's to say that it ain't double? Who's to say that it ain't triple? Who's to say that it isn't a small amount? The Lord is going to feed you with whatever you want. That's why I wanted to bring that precept out in the book of Proverbs 30 and 8, where it says, feed me with food convenient for me. You know, one day the Lord could possibly give you an abundance, and, you know, you might not know how much it is, but you're asking the Lord to give you what your portion is, and he's going to supply you with whatever you need in order to get by. One day it might be bountiful. He might have it in your spirit to be able to handle that. You know, another brother might ask to receive a sufficient portion for him, and it might not be as much, but it's whatever is convenient for you and your spirit to grow. The Lord ain't gonna give you too much if you ask for a suffice amount. You know, I was listening to Apostle Gabar's lesson a few days ago, going into this guy. I'ma just call him a nigga, Alazar, and a Sakari. You know, hey, could there be sincere guys amongst them? Yeah, it could be, but I don't believe most of those guys are sincere. You know what I'm saying? Just being honest, you know. But he was going into those guys, and how you got this guy Eleazar, who has a self-proclaimed title as chief priest, which is a very high title to have. You know, when the Apostle Gabar when Yahushua, when he was cursing those guys out, a lot of them were chief priests. You know what I'm saying? He don't even call himself a high priest. He's the chief priest, meaning you're the chief of all the priests. Mind you, there was an abundance of high priests. When you go into our nation, especially when we were in different areas of Greece, you had a bunch of areas where you had the priesthood. You know what I'm saying? Even in the ancient world, there wasn't just the high priest in Jerusalem. There was different regions where those Israelites were at, that they had high priests. You remember when David was running from Saul, and he went into, I believe his name is, it's been so, I think it's I don't get me wrong, but he went to meet with one of the high priests, and that's where David ate the showbread, but he met up with the high priest, and I was just one of them. So you had different high priests in different regions to offer up sacrifice. The priesthood was vast, and then you had the chief priest, who was a chief over an abundance of them, and that's a very high title. And the apostle went into how this guy hasn't even been in the truth long for a small amount of time, and he already has this title. But when you listen to his lesson, it just goes into, he brought up the precept in Matthew where you had guys that wanted to sit, at the highest seat. You know what I'm saying? At first coming to the truth, they want to sit at the highest seat. They want this large portion to have. Then when the hell that comes with it, they ain't able to handle it. And again, this is just what my feeble understanding that I have. When I say feeble understanding, it's not feeble, but due to the small amount of years I've been in this thing, you know what I'm saying? What I've noticed is, and the scriptures even say it, man, it's best to be humble. You ask the Lord to give you what is suffice for you. You know what I'm saying? And again, you pray to the Lord whatever you want. If you ask for a double portion, just pray that the Lord gives you amount of the Spirit to be able to sustain it. But you got guys out there that just want to be glorified. They want the largest portion, and they're not even going to be able to eat it up, man. They're going to be full and vomit everything out. Man. Then the Lord will abase them. And again, just something I was meditating on, man. As I read in Proverbs 30th chapter, something that, through the Spirit, I've been implementing in my prayers for the Lord to just feed me with whatever is suffice and convenient for me. We don't want to get supplied with too much. Think you're eating it good right now, but you keep on eating it up, and it could be a point where you vomit it out. Hey, or you could be sustained with that double portion. At the end of the day, it's all the Lord's will. Just be prepared. Be prepared what you get when you ask of the Lord, man. There's a scripture, I believe it's in Sirach, and I'm driving. I don't know where exactly it is in Sirach. If a brother could post it on the comment board, you might know what I'm talking about. But it goes to when you prepare yourself to pray to the Lord, you really need to sit back and meditate on that. Meditate and be prepared for what you're asking. It's in Matthew the 20th chapter, where you had the mother of James and John that asked Yahushua if one could sit at his right and the other one at his left. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second. And again, I'm driving, so bear with me, please. All right. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 20, verse 20. And it reads, "Then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, who was James and John, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him. And he said unto her, What wilt thou? And she said unto him," and this is actually a woman that believed. It's rare when you find actually your somebody's mother that believes, man. But this is an example of a mother that believed, which, our people were closer to the source back then anyway. So, yeah, a lot more of our people were spiritual and did receive Yahushua. But it said, she said unto him, "Grant that these my 2 sons may sit, the one on thy right hand and the other on thy left, in thy kingdom." But Yahushua answered and said, ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? And they said unto him, we are able. So Yahushua said to her, you know not what ye ask. Okay? Because there is something that comes with that cup, man. There's something that comes with that portion. All right? Persecution, hell. A lot of us could be presented in front of death. You know? A lot of us are going to be presented in front of death. Okay? When you go into hearing about the different things the apostles and the elders went through when they were younger in the truth, how they were thrown in jail, certain things that happened, and certain of them was like, man, that's when they realized this thing was real. And we're approaching a time that's coming close where we're going to have to implement everything that we've been saying and practicing. Like I said in my lesson I did yesterday, it's easy to say what you're going to do when tribulation's not presented in front of you. It's easy. It's easy to say, I'm going to walk with Yahushua. You know, when you don't got hell on your sides, when you ain't being messed with like that. I mean, we all being afflicted, of course. Don't get me wrong. Brothers are being tormented. You know, and brothers are fighting and enduring, and it's beautiful. You know, it's beautiful, man. This thing of ours is something else. But we haven't went through yet. We haven't went through with what those great men went through to the T, persecution-wise. We haven't went through what Yahushua went through. We haven't went through what the apostles and the different prophets went through yet. And we're approaching that time. And the persecution that's getting ready to come is going to be far greater than anything our fathers have ever seen. You know? So, and I was talking to one of the brothers too, and the brother made up a good point, you know, and this is the brother Bon Sapat, you know. He said it's easy to say you have faith, and it's a beautiful thing to show forth your faith and talk about faith. It's beautiful, man, because that's what's going to keep us sustained when our hell breaks loose. But we also need to make sure that we pray that we're able to bear our cross. You know, certain brothers' crosses might be heavier than other brothers. Certain brothers' portions might be heavier than other brothers' portions. You might have a portion that might be lighter or heavier than another brother. You might be able to eat more or less than another brother, but it's according to your portion. And we need to pray that we're able to bear that cross. We need to pray that we're able to eat up of this portion that the Lord gives us. Keeps us suffice with. You know? Feeding us with food convenient for us. That's something that we're going to pray for, because there's that time's coming where we're going to have to bear that cross officially bear that cross. You know? That time is coming, best believe, man. And we see it coming closer. We see it. The Lord is doing marvelous things out here. He's shaking in this kingdom up. And he's rebuking these nations by the hands of his prophets. Okay? And best believe there's a reward coming for the men that stand stiffly in that fight, man. The Lord said, great is the death of his servants. All right? There's a reward coming. But at the same time, on the contrary, with us doing this, there's also something else coming in the form of our enemies coming up against us like a flood, man. But if we keep that faith and if we're able to bear that cross, the Lord is going to bless us, man. If we continue to stay focused and eat up what the Lord gives us, we're going to be blessed. Yahushua said she doesn't know what she's asking right now, because the hell that came with bearing that cross was on a level. Even when Yahushua said, y'all don't even understand that I'm gonna have to be beaten with stripes and be dead for 3 days and be risen. A lot of times they didn't understand what Yahushua was talking about until it had taken place. And that shows you, by the way, that shows you the reality of this thing of ours, man. That shows you the reality of this thing of ours. Hold on one second. Salaki. That shows you the reality of this thing of ours, man. Even they didn't really understand fully what they were involved in until all hell broke loose, until they started being persecuted, until people came up against them when Yahushua was delivered up to the council, all right, to the Sanhedrin. They didn't understand that until Yahushua had to go through it. All right, there's things that we talk about. You know, of course, we go out on the highways and hedges. We bring out the scriptures. We bring out precepts. Brothers are in the spirit, doing marvelous, mighty works right now in the spirit. But that time that's coming, man, we got to make sure and pray to the Lord that we're sustained, man. We want to sit on the right hand of the Yahweh Shai. We want to be in the elect. All James and John's mother asked Yahweh Shai pretty much if they could be of that number. And Yahweh Shai said, look, you don't know what you're asking right now, because the burden that comes with it. It's a burden that comes with it, man. Even when you read certain prophets, it says the burden of Amos, the burden of Habakkuk. You know, it goes into their burden because what they had to bear, the weight they had to carry, man. It's a lot of weight that Yahweh Shai carried. Yahweh Shai carried all of our weight, and we got weight we got to carry too. Once you're converted in this truth, man, you ain't the same person as you was. You ain't looked at in the same light. All eyes are on you. The eyes of the angels, and the eyes of our enemies. It's a lot that comes with it, man. You know? But I'm getting into work, man. But it was on my spirit to go into that, man. Just what Lord's willing, what I'm going to keep doing. If the Spirit's on me to keep doing it, man, to ask the Lord to feed me with whatever is convenient for me. Not too much, not too less, but whatever is suffice for me in order to bear, whatever suffice for me to keep going and keep pressing, keep grinding, and being an example to the men over me and the men under me. If it be the Lord's will, we gonna do it. You know? But yeah, man, I'm gonna end it off on that. You know, Lord willing, this was edifying. You know, Lord willing, that was comforting. You know, don't ask for too much, because you might not be able to bear it. Ask for what's just right. You know, just a spiritual recommendation. You know what I'm saying? I just recommend it. That's all I'm saying. But I'm going to end it off on that. You know, call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Rakakwadash, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and much salutation to you, elect Dakyam, across the four winds of this earth, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom.